The chandeliers at the Plaza Hotel glowed like fallen stars, casting long gold reflections across the ballroom floor, as if the universe itself wanted to witness my humiliation. Logan Reed, my husband of 6 years, stood in the center of the room with a champagne flute in hand, surrounded by his newly promoted colleagues. He looked sharp in his tailored charcoal suit, sharp enough to cut, and that night he did. "Everyone, meet my lovely wife, Harper," he announced, pulling me closer by the waist. People smiled, cameras flashed, and for a moment I thought he still saw me, really saw me. The woman who'd stayed up nights editing his resumes, the woman who carried him through his lowest years. But then he laughed, a loud, cold, self-satisfied sound. "Honestly," he added, swirling his champagne, "this promotion couldn't have come at a better time. Harper's been, well, kind of a freeloader lately." The room shifted. The air tightened. Laughter, thin, polite, confused, sprinkled the crowd. My ears rang. My heart dropped. I stood frozen, my fingers digging into my clutch so hard the metal clasp cut my palm. A freeloader. The word hit like a slap. No, like a punch to the ribs. He knew I had given up full-time work to care for his sick mother until her final days. He knew my freelance income had been unstable since the hospital bills. He knew everything. And still, he said it. Publicly. Deliberately. As if I were nothing more than a burden he dragged behind him. Chelsea Ward, his new too perfect, too interested analyst, leaned close enough to smirk behind her champagne. "Don't be upset," she whispered, pretending to adjust her earring. "Men like him need to feel like they're carrying everything, even when they aren't." Her perfume was expensive and suffocating. Her tone was gentle, but her eyes were knives. I stepped back from Logan, each inch feeling like I was pulling my heart out of cement. "Why would you say that?" I asked quietly, hoping he'd hear the tremble I tried to hide. Logan shrugged. "Relax, Harp, it's a joke. Everyone knows you work from home." He emphasized the last words like they were punchlines. Heat crawled up my neck. People pretended not to stare, but their pity was loud. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. And in that moment, beneath the golden chandeliers and luxury decor, I realized something chilling. He didn't just say it, he meant it. I turned to leave, desperate for air, but Logan grabbed my wrist. Too tight, too possessive. "Don't make a scene," he hissed, smile frozen for the cameras. That was the moment something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a thread stretched too far, finally giving way. I looked up at him with a calmness that even scared me. "Logan," I whispered, "you want to know what a real scene looks like?" His smile faltered, because I was about to show him. Before Logan's promotion, before the champagne and the sharp-edged insults wrapped in laughter, there was us, two young dreamers in a cramped Boston apartment with peeling walls and a shared dream of making it. I remembered the nights we ate instant noodles on the floor because we couldn't afford chairs. I remembered how he used to hold my hands and say, "One day, Harper, I'll give you the world." Somewhere along the way, the world he promised became a world he didn't want me in. Back then, I worked full-time at a creative agency, writing late-night copy on a cheap second-hand MacBook while he studied for his MBA. I carried him through exams, proofreading every paper, cheering him through every failure. When my mother's cancer diagnosis came like a hurricane, I dropped everything, my job, my rising future, to become her caregiver. Logan had said, "Do it. Family comes first. I'll support us for a while." He didn't mention there would be an expiration date on his patience. When she passed, I tried to rebuild my career freelancing from our apartment in Greenpoint. Clients came in waves, some steady, some disappearing without paying, but I kept going. Because that was what we had always done, survived together. Except now. It felt like I was the only one still surviving. In the weeks leading to his promotion, Logan stopped asking how I was doing, stopped caring if I had eaten, stopped noticing when I cried quietly in the shower at night. He'd come home late, smelling of cologne I didn't recognize, with a tired smile I knew wasn't meant for me. And Chelsea? She slipped into our lives like a winter draft, silent, cold, unnoticed, until it was too late. Logan admired her ambition, her drive, her fresh perspective. Words he once used for me. Now he looked at me like I was an outdated version of someone he had already replaced. As I stood in the shimmering ballroom earlier that night, being labeled a freeloader by the man I had once saved emotionally and financially, I realized something painful. I wasn't losing him. I had already lost him long ago. The only thing left to decide now was whether I would lose myself too. And that answer changed the second I walked out of that ballroom and felt the cold Manhattan air hit my face like a baptism. Because that night, I made a promise. Logan Reed would soon learn the cost of calling the wrong woman a burden. The morning after the gala felt different. Not in a poetic, life-changing way, but in the way a bruise feels when you first press on it. My head throbbed, my chest felt hollow, and Manhattan outside our window looked colder than usual, even under a bright sky. Logan was in the kitchen, dressed in his fitted navy suit, scrolling through his iPhone like he was handling global crises. I wanted to walk past him quietly, maybe grab coffee and pretend last night never happened. But then he said it. Again. "Harper, you really embarrassed me last night." I froze. "I embarrassed you?" He didn't even look up. "You walked out while I was talking. People noticed." "So did I answered softly. "They noticed when you called me a freeloader." He sighed dramatically, as if dealing with a stubborn child. "It was a joke. Learn to take one." My stomach knotted. I turned toward the counter, trying to steady my hands enough to make coffee. I reached for my card, but something felt off. I opened my banking app. My access was denied. Password invalid. Account no longer authorized. A chill traveled up my spine. "Logan," I said quietly, "why is my access to our joint account revoked?" He finally looked up, expression careless. "Because I handle the finances now, it's more efficient." I blinked hard. "You changed the password without telling me?" "You don't need it," he said, shrugging as he poured himself coffee. "You're not contributing. It doesn't make sense for you to control money you didn't earn." I felt the world tilt. "Logan, I pay bills, groceries, utilities, everything. With that account." He waved a dismissive hand. "From now on, I'll transfer you what you need." Like I was an allowance-dependent teenager, like I was an inconvenience. I stepped back, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. "This isn't efficiency," I whispered. "This is control." "It's marriage," he corrected. "Real marriages have one person managing money, and clearly that person isn't you." Something inside me cracked, quietly, painfully, the way frozen glass cracks under pressure. Chelsea's text preview lit up his phone. "Lunch today, same place, can't wait." He tilted the screen away as if I hadn't seen it, and in that moment, I realized this wasn't carelessness. This was strategy. This was a setup. This was the beginning of something darker, and I hadn't even seen the worst of it yet. Chelsea Ward didn't walk into our lives. She drifted in, smooth as perfume and twice as suffocating. Before Logan's promotion, I had heard her name only once in passing, mentioned with that too casual tone men use when they're hiding something. But after he became director, suddenly she was everywhere. She started showing up in Logan's stories the way a shadow appears when the sun changes direction. 1 minute nothing, the next minute a silhouette dominating the wall. Chelsea said the new presentation format was brilliant. Chelsea thinks the team cohesion is improving. Chelsea booked the conference room for us. Us. The words scraped something raw inside me. One afternoon, I decided to surprise Logan at his office. Maybe bring lunch. Maybe salvage what was left of us. Hudson Yards was buzzing with energy, suits rushing between glass towers, taxis honking through traffic, the kind of place where ambition smelled like burnt coffee and expensive cologne. When I stepped into the lobby, Chelsea was already there. She stood near the security desk, leaning against a marble column like she owned the place. Her blazer was tailored perfectly, her heels clicked sharp against the floor, and she held a sleek Mont Blanc pen between manicured fingers like it was an extension of her power. "Harper," she said with that little half-smile, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. "What a surprise." "I'm here to see Logan," I replied, trying to keep my tone even. "Oh," her smile widened. "He didn't tell you? He took an early lunch." My stomach dropped. "With who?" She shrugged lightly. "Team meeting offsite. You know how demanding leadership can be." But something flickered in her gaze. Too satisfied, too rehearsed. A lie wearing lipstick. Before I could respond, her phone buzzed. She glanced down, then deliberately turned the screen so I could see the preview. Logan Reed. "I'll order your usual. Be there in 5. My breath hitched. Her eyes met mine, bright, calculated, triumphant. "Relax," she murmured. "I'm sure he meant to tell you." Wharton, the elevator beside us, chimed. She stepped in, leaving a trail of expensive floral perfume behind. Right before the doors closed, she said, "Oh, and you might want to check your email. Logan asked me to forward something important." My chest tightened. "What email?" Her grin turned razor sharp. "You'll see." The doors slid shut, and I suddenly knew whatever she sent was going to hurt, because when I opened my inbox, my marriage wouldn't just crack, it would explode. When I finally stepped out of Hudson Yards, the wind cut straight through my coat like it had been waiting for me. Snowflakes drifted through the air, soft, white, innocent, so painfully unlike the storm gathering in my chest. I walked without seeing where I was going, just trying to outrun the humiliation burning up my throat. Chelsea's email notification still glowed on my phone screen like a bruise. I didn't open it yet. I couldn't. Not in public. The subway ride back to Greenpoint felt endless. Every screech of the tracks echoed the same thought. What did she send me? I forced myself not to imagine Logan and Chelsea together, laughing over drinks, sharing inside jokes he once shared with me, leaning closer under dim restaurant lighting. The kind of proximity that destroys marriages long before the first lie. By the time I reached our apartment, my hands were shaking so badly I dropped my keys twice. Inside, the place felt too quiet, too still. Our living room, where we once watched movies wrapped in blankets, now looked like a crime scene where something invisible but critical had died. I sat on the couch, snow still trapped in my hair, melting down the collar of my coat. Then I finally opened the email. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't pictures. It wasn't messages. It was something much, much worse. A forwarded HR document, marked Internal Confidential. Leadership Review. Logan had submitted it the day before. Section 4, Personal Stress Factors Impacting Performance. Next to that, Logan had written, "My home environment has become financially taxing. My wife does not contribute. Emotional instability at home affects my focus and productivity." My throat closed. I read it again and again, hoping the words would rearrange themselves into something less cruel. But then came the final sentence, the one that didn't just bruise but shattered. "For long-term stability in this role, I may need to reassess my domestic situation." Domestic situation? Me, our marriage, our life? Reduced to a situation that needed reassessment, and Chelsea had forwarded it to me with a sticky note of text typed at the bottom. "Thought you should know how he really views you." My entire body went cold, not from the snow, not from the winter, from betrayal so intimate it felt surgical. I stared at the screen, my breath trembling. That was the moment I finally stopped defending him in my mind, stopped believing he just misspoke, stopped believing he'd come to his senses, because you don't write something like that unless you've already decided your wife is expendable. And then, just as I wiped my tears, the doorknob turned. Logan was home early, and he wasn't alone. The front door creaked open, letting in a burst of cold air and the faint scent of Logan's expensive cologne. I wiped my face quickly, shoving my phone under a pillow as if hiding the truth would delay the fallout I knew was coming. But then I heard it. heels clicking against the hardwood floor. Chelsea. She stepped inside with the confidence of someone who believed she belonged there. Her hair was perfectly curled, her lipstick flawless, her eyes scanning my living room like she was appraising it for an open house tour. "What are you doing here?" I asked, rising to my feet. Chelsea smiled, pretending to be embarrassed. "Oh, Harper. Logan asked me to drop off some project files. Time sensitive. At 5 in the evening? To our home? On a Friday?" She wasn't even holding anything. Logan closed the door behind them, loosening his tie like a man who'd just come home to comfort, not conflict. "Don't start," he muttered, brushing past me. "It's been a long day." My voice trembled. "You brought her to our house?" He shrugged. "It's work." "No," I said softly. "Work doesn't wear red lipstick and follow you inside like she lives here." Chelsea lifted an eyebrow. "I'm not trying to intrude. I just go where I'm needed." I hated how she said that. I hated even more how Logan didn't correct her. I picked up my phone and opened the HR document again, forcing myself not to cry. "Logan," I said, "I saw what you wrote about me." He paused by the kitchen island, face tightening. "You weren't supposed to see that." "So it's true?" My voice cracked. "I'm a financial burden? A problem? A situation?" He exhaled like my pain annoyed him. "Harper, it's just corporate language. You're overreacting." I almost laughed. Corporate language. How convenient. Chelsea walked closer, lowering her voice. "Sometimes marriages shift. People drift apart. It happens." I stepped back from her, heart pounding. "You don't get to narrate my marriage." Logan rubbed his temples. "Harper, can you not be dramatic? You've been moody for months. I can't carry everything anymore." That did it. Every sacrifice. Every night I held his mother's hand as she faded. Every bill I paid. Every dream I shelved. All of it crashed through me at once. "You haven't carried me a single day in your life," I whispered. Silence. Even Chelsea blinked. Logan's expression darkened. "If you hate your life with me so much, maybe you should figure out how to pay for it." The room spun. "That's what you want," I whispered. "You want to handle everything?" He folded his arms. "Yes, clearly I'm already doing it." A strange calm washed over me. "Fine," I said. "Then from this moment on, you will." Logan frowned. "What does that mean?" I stepped closer, meeting his eyes. "It means I'm done paying for anything in this house. Every bill, every meal, every expense, every responsibility you think I'm freeloading on is now yours." Chelsea's lips parted. Logan's face dropped. And that was the moment everything shifted, not in his favor, but in mine. Because neither of them knew the storm that simple promise was about to unleash. Logan didn't take my declaration seriously. Not at first. He smirked, kissed Chelsea on the cheek like I wasn't standing there, and said, "Sure, Harper, I'll handle everything. God knows I already do." But the thing about arrogance is that it rots slowly until it collapses all at once. The first crack came the next morning. He opened the fridge, frowned, and muttered, "Why is there no milk?" I didn't look up from my laptop. "Because we ran out." "Well, why didn't you buy more?" I typed another line of my freelance script calmly. "Because you said you carry everything, so carry that." He blinked, confused, then irritated. I watched as he stormed to the door, grabbing his keys. Day one. One grocery run. He thought it was nothing. By day 3, the cracks deepened. Our Con Ed bill arrived. Electricity, gas, heating. Manhattan utilities weren't gentle. He stared at the email like it was written in a foreign language. "Why is this so high?" he demanded. "Because it's winter," I replied, sipping my coffee. "And because that giant TV you bought draws enough power to illuminate a runway." He muttered under his breath, but paid it. Day 5, the building's monthly HOA fee hit. Logan winced at the number, almost a quarter of his old rent before we met. Then came the internet bill, car insurance, parking garage fees, and the apartment cleaning subscription he insisted on keeping for appearances. Chelsea started noticing too. One night, as they FaceTimed in the kitchen, I overheard her complaining, "Why do you look so stressed, babe? It's just money." Logan rubbed his forehead. "It's not just money, everything's piling up. Harper's being ridiculous." Chelsea pouted. "Ignore her. Come spend the weekend at my place. I'll make you forget all of this." But he hesitated. Something he never used to do, because for the first time in his life, he couldn't blame me. He was drowning in responsibilities he'd never acknowledged existed. The grocery runs, the rent reminders, the insurance renewals, the dozens of invisible tasks I'd handled quietly for years. He was meeting them for the first time, face to face, and losing. But the real blow came on day 10. Logan barged into the living room, waving a notice. His voice was tight, panicked. "Harper, why is the credit card maxed out? I didn't even use it." I closed my laptop slowly, heart steady, because I already knew the truth. And when I spoke, his face went white. "Logan, that wasn't me. You better check the charges again. One name keeps showing up." Logan stared at the statement like the numbers were personally insulting him. "Why are there $1,900 in charges at Saks? And is this a $600 hair appointment? Harper, are you kidding me?" I didn't even blink. "I haven't stepped into Saks in 2 years. Maybe you should check the signature." He scrolled faster, panic rising. "And these dinners, Maria, catch steak, these are, Harper, these are over $400 each." I rested my elbow on the couch, calm. "Logan, look again. Whose name is on the receipt?" His face drained of color. There it was, clear as day. C. Ward, Chelsea. Ward had been using his card like it was a corporate expense account. Nails, dinners, spa days, luxury shopping, and even a $300 wellness crystal session that made me almost laugh. Logan staggered back. "She told me the company reimbursed those. She said it was part of team development." I let the silence sink in. Then I said, "And you believed her?" He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. Damn it, Harper, why wouldn't I? She said she was handling morale. She said that she needed $800 shoes for morale?" I asked quietly. He glared, but it wasn't anger, it was fear. Fear of looking stupid, fear of being used, fear of watching the pedestal he'd built for Chelsea collapse under her own heels. He grabbed his coat. "I'm going to talk to her." "Great," I replied coolly, "but you should check your email first." He froze. "What email?" "The fraud alert from Chase," I said, handing him my phone. "It came while you were yelling." His eyes flickered over the message. "Unusual spending activity detected. Card ending in 8421. The list went on. A $1,200 hotel suite at the Ned. 2 spa treatments in the afternoon. A charge for a champagne delivery. Then, the final blow. A second room booked under Logan's name for the same night. He stared at it, then at me, then back at the screen. His lips parted. This has to be a mistake." "Yeah," I whispered. "The mistake was letting her in." He stumbled back, chest rising and falling in sharp breaths. For the first time since we married, he looked small, breakable, human. But karma wasn't done yet. Because right then, at the perfect, cruel moment, his phone rang. Chelsea's name glowed across the screen, and the preview of her message hit him like a bullet. "I booked the room early, can't wait for tonight." I leaned back slowly, letting the horror spread across his face. "Logan," I said softly, "you should probably answer that." Logan stared at Chelsea's name flashing on his phone as if it were a live grenade. His jaw clenched, knuckles whitening around the device. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. His own choices were speaking loudly enough. He finally swiped to answer. "Chelsea," he breathed, voice tight and uneven. Her voice poured through the speaker, bright, sugary, and utterly unaware of the disaster she'd created. "Hey, babe, did you get my text? I'm already at the hotel. I ordered champagne and—" Logan cut her off. "Chelsea, stop. Don't say anything else." Silence, then confusion. "What's wrong? Are you still coming?" He swallowed hard. You used my card again." "Oh," she said lightly. "Don't be dramatic. You said to put things on the corporate card." "That wasn't the corporate card," he snapped, anger finally boiling through. "You've been spending thousands of dollars on my personal account. Do you understand how insane that is?" A pause. Then her tone sharpened, colder than ice. "Are you seriously doing this right now?" "Yes," Logan barked. "Right now. What the hell are those charges? And why are you booking 2 rooms in my name?" Another pause, longer, heavier. Then Chelsea exhaled, annoyed. "Logan, grow up. It's part of the image. Executives don't show up alone. People talk. You need to look successful." He blinked, stunned. "By paying for your designer shopping sprees? You think your wife pays them?" she mocked. "Please." A muscle in Logan's cheek twitched. He glanced at me, and for the first time I saw panic. Not guilt, panic. He was finally realizing what she was. Not a partner, not a muse, a leech with lipstick. Chelsea continued, voice dripping poison. "You were supposed to have your life under control. You said Harper was dead weight. You said she'd never leave you." I felt my lungs tighten. Logan's eyes widened. "Chelsea," he hissed, "she can hear you." "Good," she said flatly. "Maybe she should know what you really say behind her back." He froze. I didn't. Chelsea laughed. A thin, sharp sound. "Look, Logan, if you're suddenly broke, just say so, but don't pretend this is my fault." And then she delivered the killing blow. "You're a director with a 6-figure salary. If you can't even handle me, how the hell are you going to handle a team?" Logan staggered back like he'd been kicked. His pride, his last fragile pillar, crumbled. He ended the call without another word. The room fell into a suffocating silence. I stood, heart pounding, voice steady. "Logan," I said, "you've destroyed our finances, our marriage, and any dignity you had left, and you did it willingly." He took a shaky step toward me. "Harper, please, let me explain." I shook my head, because at that exact moment my phone buzzed. A new message, from the last person I expected, and when I read the name, my entire future shifted direction. My phone buzzed again, slicing sharply through the silence Logan and I were standing in. I looked down at the screen, expecting maybe another bill reminder, maybe a spam text, anything but the name glowing in bold white letters, Marcus Lynn. My pulse flickered. Marcus, my old college friend, my once closest confidant, the man who knew every version of me before I became Logan's shadow. We hadn't spoken in over a year. I opened the message with trembling hands. "Harper, I heard something happened. Are you safe? I'm already in Brooklyn for a case. If you need anything, anything at all, I'm here." I stared at the words, the sincerity in them hitting me harder than any insult Logan ever threw. Marcus had always been that person, steady, calm, thoughtful. He'd once told me I deserved someone who protected me, not someone who dimmed me. I didn't believe him then. Now, reading his message while my marriage collapsed at my feet, I felt something shift inside me, something like oxygen. Logan stepped closer, voice cracking. "Why is he texting you?" I looked up slowly. "Because he cares." "Harper, don't do this," Logan whispered, eyes glassy. "Don't involve him." A bitter laugh escaped me. "You involved Chelsea multiple times." He flinched, guilt rippling across his face. "I made mistakes, but I can fix." "No," I cut him off. "You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice." He tried to take my hands. I stepped back, because in that moment the truth settled in my bones. Logan never feared losing me. He feared losing control of me. I stared at him, voice steady. "Do you know what hurts most, Logan? Not the cheating, not the lies, not the credit card bills. It's that you looked me in the eye and saw me as less." His expression twisted. "Harp, please. I wasn't thinking clearly." "But Chelsea was," I said softly. "She thought very clearly. She used you, drained you, and humiliated you, and you let her." He sank onto the arm of the couch, burying his face in his hands. For the first time, I saw not the confident director from Manhattan, but a man who had built his entire identity on sand. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Marcus. "If you need me, I can be there in 15 minutes. I felt Logan tense. "Harper," he whispered, voice shaking, "please don't go. Not like this." For the first time in months, I felt power settle into my spine. I grabbed my coat, and as I reached for the door, another notification popped up, this time an email, from Logan's company. "Urgent. Director review meeting. Moved to tomorrow. Mandatory attendance." I froze, because attached to that email was something that could end Logan's entire career. The subject line alone made my stomach twist. Director review. Conduct concerns and financial irregularities. It wasn't a meeting invite, it was a warning. My finger hovered over the attachment for a full 5 seconds before I opened it. Logan watched me, chest rising and falling like he was preparing for impact. Inside the email were 3 PDFs. 1. Employee complaints. 2. Expense audit. 3. Anonymous testimony. My breath caught. The room felt too small, too quiet, too full of secrets finally clawing their way into the light. I clicked the first document. Several employees had reported inappropriate favoritism toward Chelsea. Descriptions ranged from preferential scheduling to private meetings after office hours. And one bold line stood out in red. Director Reed may be developing an inappropriate relationship with subordinate Chelsea Ward. Logan squeezed his eyes shut. "Harper, I can explain." But I wasn't finished. I opened the second attachment. It showed every personal purchase Chelsea had charged to Logan's work account. Designer clothing, hotel stays, spa treatments, late-night transportation, tens of thousands of dollars. I turned the screen to him. "You let her use your corporate card?" He swallowed hard. "She said it was approved. She said the CFO vouched." "Logan," I whispered, "how can someone so educated be this naive?" His face collapsed into his hands, but the third PDF, that was the one that nearly made me sit down. Anonymous testimony. A full page, detailed, cold. It described a director who belittled his wife, manipulated finances, and brought a subordinate into his home. A director who allowed personal issues to compromise leadership. A director who risked the company's reputation for an affair disguised as mentorship. My blood froze at the final lines. If Director Reed is not investigated, this could lead to legal liability for the company. Recommend immediate review. Logan's voice cracked. "Harper, please tell me you didn't submit that. Tell me you didn't do this to me." I stared at him, hurt, anger, and the smallest, cruelest hint of satisfaction. "No, Logan," I said softly. "I didn't write that. You managed to destroy your career without my help." He staggered back, gripping the counter like the ground had tilted beneath him. "This can't be happening. They can't fire me. I just got promoted." "That's the thing about power," I murmured. "You only get to keep it if you deserve it." He sank onto the couch, trembling. Then, a loud, sudden knock rattled the door. We both froze, because standing outside was a person neither of us expected, and they were about to turn our lives upside down. The knock thundered through the apartment again, sharp, urgent, and nothing like the soft tap of a neighbor. Logan stood abruptly, wiping his face with the back of his sleeve, trying to regain whatever dignity he still believed he had. I moved toward the door, but my legs felt heavy. The stress, the betrayal, the weeks of sleepless nights, they were catching up to me faster than I realized. I opened the door, and standing there under the dim hallway light was Marcus Lynn. His expression softened the moment he saw me. "Harper," he breathed, stepping inside without waiting for permission. His eyes scanned my face, my trembling hands, the chaos behind me. "You look pale. Are you okay?" Logan stiffened. "What the hell are you doing here?" Marcus didn't even look at him. "Your wife texted me back. She sounded off. I came to check on her." Wife? Logan scoffed. She invited you. That's convenient. Logan, I whispered, I didn't invite him. He came because he cares. Marcus finally turned toward him, voice cool. And you clearly don't. The air tensed between them, Logan's pride against Marcus's steady calm. Two men, two realities. Only one had ever truly seen me. I tried to speak, but the room swayed, just slightly at first, then in a slow, sickening tilt. Marcus stepped forward immediately. Harper, he said sharply, sit down, now. I'm fine, I breathed, grabbing the wall, but I wasn't. My heart pounded irregularly, too fast, too hard. My chest tightened as a wave of dizziness rolled through me. Marcus caught my arm before I could fall. You're not fine, he said firmly. Your skin is ice cold. How long have you been feeling like this? I could barely hear him. Everything sounded distant, muffled, as if I were underwater. Logan rushed over, panic rising. Harper, hey, look at me. But his voice felt wrong. Too late, too far. Marcus pressed 2 fingers to my wrist. His jaw tightened. Your pulse is all over the place. You need a hospital. Now. Logan stepped between us. She doesn't need a hospital. She's just overwhelmed. She does this. She dramatizes things. Marcus snapped. She's about to pass out. Move. My knees buckled. Marcus lifted me before I hit the ground. One arm under my knees, one around my back. His scent, clean, warm, familiar, cut through the panic. I felt safe, for the first time in months. Logan's voice cracked. Put her down, I'm her husband. Marcus turned, calm but deadly serious. You stopped being her husband the moment you chose to break her. And then everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was staring at the bright white ceiling of Mount Sinai's emergency room. The steady beep of the heart monitor was the first thing I heard when consciousness crept back in. The antiseptic scent, the soft hum of fluorescent lights, Mount Sinai's signature atmosphere settled around me like a cold reminder that things had gone too far. I blinked slowly. Marcus was sitting beside my hospital bed, elbows on his knees, hands clasped like he was holding a prayer between them. His eyes snapped up the moment I shifted. Harper, he breathed, standing instantly. You're awake. His relief was real, not theatrical, not guilt-driven, pure. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. How long? 6 hours, he said gently, lifting a cup of ice water to my lips. Dehydration, anemia, acute stress. The doctor said if you'd collapsed alone, it could have been worse. The weight of those words pressed into my chest. Worse. I had been pushing myself past every limit without realizing it. Then I noticed the second figure in the corner. Logan. He stood stiffly, arms folded, gaze bouncing between Marcus and me. His eyes were puffy, either from crying or panic, probably both. Harper, he said quietly, I'm sorry, I didn't think. You never think, Marcus snapped before he could finish. Logan's jaw tightened. This isn't your place. Marcus stepped closer, voice low and controlled. It became my place the moment she hit the floor while you accused her of acting dramatic. Both of you stop, I whispered. They turned toward me, 2 storms colliding over a woman who had forgotten how to protect herself. Harper, Logan said, moving closer, I want to take you home. Home. The word felt foreign now, like something that belonged to a different lifetime. I looked at him, really looked, and saw not a husband, but a man terrified of losing control of the narrative, terrified of what losing me would reveal to himself. Before I could answer, the doctor walked in, a woman in crisp scrubs with a no-nonsense expression. Miss Sullivan, she said gently, we need to talk about your test results. Logan stepped forward. Is she okay? The doctor hesitated. My heartbeat kicked up. She took a breath. Your body is severely worn down, but there's something else we need to monitor. Marcus frowned. What do you mean, something else? The doctor looked directly at me. "Harper, there's a possibility you fainted not just from stress. You may be experiencing symptoms of early pregnancy." The room spun. Logan gasped. "Pregnant?" Marcus froze. And I felt my entire world tilt into a new, terrifying direction. The word pregnant echoed in the room like a dropped glass shattering on tile. Logan staggered back, gripping the bed rail as if the ground had turned to water beneath him. "Pregnant?" he whispered, voice cracking. "Harp, is it true?" Marcus didn't say a word. He just stared at the doctor, his jaw tightening, not in jealousy, but in something deeper, concern, protection, and maybe fear for me. I felt frozen, unable to breathe. "You said possibility," I managed, looking at the doctor. "Not confirmed." She nodded gently. "We need a second blood panel. The readings were unusual. It could be stress hormones mimicking pregnancy markers, but we can't rule anything out until tomorrow morning." Tomorrow. One more night in this limbo. Logan stepped closer, desperation rising. "Harper, if you're pregnant, I need to be here, for you, for us." Us. That word no longer meant what it used to. I turned away, staring at the wall. "Logan, you couldn't even be here for me when I wasn't pregnant. What makes you think you're capable now?" He swallowed hard, tears filling his eyes. "I didn't know you were hurting this bad." Marcus's voice cut in sharply. "You didn't care." Logan shot him a glare. "Stay out of this." Marcus stepped forward, unflinching. "I won't. She deserves someone who actually shows up." The two of them stood there, mirror opposites, one fueled by ego and regret, one fueled by loyalty and truth. The doctor cleared her throat, breaking the tension. "Miss Sullivan needs rest. Stress won't help." Marcus turned to me gently. "Do you want me to stay tonight?" Before I could speak, Logan blurted, "No, I'm her husband. I'm staying." I closed my eyes, exhaustion hitting me like a tidal wave. "Stop, both of you." They fell silent. "I just need space to breathe." I meant it. I had been suffocating for months. And now, with my future possibly reshaping itself inside me, I needed clarity more than I needed company. Marcus nodded quietly, stepping back. "I'll be right outside. Call me if you need me." Logan slumped into the chair by the window, guilt swallowing him whole. "Harper, please, don't give up on me yet." But something in me already knew the truth. I wasn't giving up on him. I was giving up on who I had forced myself to be for him. As I finally drifted into a restless sleep, one thought clawed at me. If I was pregnant, who would I trust with this child's future? And that answer was not the man sitting in the chair. But the next morning, I woke up to a shock. Logan was gone. The morning sun cut through the blinds in thin, sharp lines, slicing across the white hospital sheets. I blinked awake, my head heavy, my body still trembling with exhaustion. For a moment, I wasn't sure where I was until I heard the steady beep of the monitor beside me. Mount Sinai, right. I turned to my side, expecting to see Logan hunched in the chair, guilt eating him alive. But the chair was empty. Neatly folded on the seat was his suit jacket, his phone charger, a half-finished cup of black coffee, but no Logan. My heart clenched, not from longing, from clarity. He didn't stay, not even for one night. Marcus walked in moments later with 2 coffees and a gentle expression that made my eyes sting. "You're awake," he said softly. "How do you feel?" I glanced at the empty chair. He left. Marcus followed my gaze. His jaw tightened. Not surprised, not angry, just disappointed. He got a call at around 5 in the morning. He stepped outside to answer it, and he never came back. "A call?" My voice cracked. "From who?" Marcus hesitated, then quietly, "Chelsea." A cold wave spread through my chest. She still has him on a leash. He set the coffees down, pulling the chair closer. No, she has him by something worse, his ego. Before I could reply, the doctor entered with my updated results in hand. "Miss Sullivan," she said with a warm but serious tone, "we repeated your blood panel. The pregnancy indicator was a false positive. It was stress-induced." Relief washed over me. Fast, overwhelming, dizzying relief. I wasn't pregnant. I wasn't tethered to Logan forever. My future was mine again. Marcus exhaled, visibly relieved too. But before I could process the emotional whiplash, the doctor added, "However, what concerns me is your stress level. You're showing signs of extreme emotional burnout. If you continue like this, your body will eventually force you to stop." I nodded, tears pooling. "I know." Marcus sat beside me, lowering his voice. "Harper, you don't have to go back there. You have options." Options. The word tasted foreign, like hope. But the moment didn't last, because just then, another knock came at the door. A nurse peeked inside. "Miss Sullivan, you have a visitor." Marcus stood. "I'll step out." But the nurse stopped him. "It's not your husband," she said, "and it's not family." I frowned. Then who? A familiar silhouette stepped into the doorway. My heart stopped. It was Chelsea Ward. Chelsea Ward closed the door behind her with the quiet arrogance of someone who had never faced consequences a day in her life. Her heels clicked softly against the hospital floor as she approached my bed, perfume trailing like a warning. She didn't look guilty. She didn't look nervous. She looked annoyed. "Harper," she said with a sigh, smoothing her hair. "God, you look worse than I expected." I stared at her, speechless for a moment. "What are you doing here?" She shrugged. "Damage control." I almost laughed. "For who? Yourself?" "No," she replied coolly. "For Logan. He's falling apart. And frankly, you're making everything 10 times harder." My jaw clenched. "I'm making things harder?" Chelsea rolled her eyes as if I were a child throwing a tantrum. "Logan's under enormous pressure. The audit, the complaints, he's on the edge. He needs stability." I nearly choked. "He needs stability? After everything he did to me?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "You were supposed to support him, not collapse, not cause drama, not drag other men into this." My pulse spiked. Marcus saved my life. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "Marcus has been obsessed with you since college. You think I don't know that? Of course he swoops in the second you faint. It's pathetic." I clenched the blanket in my fists. "Say what you want about me, but you don't get to talk about him." She gave a soft, pitying smile. "You really think Marcus cares about you? He cares about being the hero. Men like him always do." Her confidence was chilling, so blind, so entitled, so sure she understood the world. "And what about you?" I asked. "What do you want in all of this? Logan? His money? His title?" Chelsea's smile sharpened. "I want what I deserve, and what I deserve is a man who's going places." I stared at her. She actually believed that. "You know he's losing his job tomorrow," I said quietly. "Right?" For the first time, her expression cracked, just slightly. "What?" I nodded toward the bag on the chair. "All those documents? HR knows everything. The audit, the receipts, the favoritism. Logan's director review is tomorrow morning. And it's not a review, it's a dismantling." Chelsea froze mid-breath. "No," she whispered. "He said everything was under control." "Nothing is under control," I said. "Not anymore." She swallowed hard, mascaraed eyes darting. You're lying." "I'm not," I said softly, "but you'll see tomorrow." Chelsea backed away, rattled for the first time since she entered. Then she muttered something I didn't expect. "I need to stop this before everything collapses." She spun around and hurried to the door, but before she left, she turned back and hissed, "Harper, if Logan goes down, I'm not going with him." The door slammed. And seconds later, Marcus rushed in, breathless, saying words that made my blood turn to ice. Marcus rushed into the hospital room so abruptly that the door smacked against the stopper. His chest was rising and falling fast, his tie slightly crooked like he'd sprinted the entire hallway. "Harper," he said, breathless. "Something happened." I sat up slowly, my pulse quickening. "Marcus, what?" He ran a hand through his hair, then lowered his voice. "I just got off a call with a contact in Logan's company. Harper, the director review tomorrow isn't just disciplinary." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" Marcus hesitated, a rare crack in his normally steady demeanor. "It's criminal." The room seemed to tilt. "Criminal," I echoed. He nodded grimly. "The audit uncovered transfers, tens of thousands, made from corporate accounts into a separate fund. Not giant enough to scream embezzlement, but enough to raise serious suspicion. And those charges weren't just Chelsea's little shopping sprees." My breath caught. "Logan? Knew?" "He authorized the transfers," Marcus said. "Every single one." My heart crashed into my ribs. "But Chelsea said she told him it was reimbursable. She said—" Marcus shook his head. "Chelsea manipulated him, yes. But the system logs show Logan's ID approving them. Even if she convinced him, he signed off." "So he's liable," I whispered. "He's fully liable." My stomach churned. Logan's arrogance, his blindness, his desperation to impress. It all made sense now. He wasn't just losing control. He was spiraling into a disaster he created with his own hands. Marcus placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Harper, this could ruin him. His career, his reputation, his finances, everything." I swallowed hard. "And me?" Marcus hesitated. "Well, there's a risk." A chill cut through my bones. "What kind of risk?" "Depending on how he filed taxes and joint accounts, your name might appear on some documents. It doesn't mean you're guilty, but it could drag you into the investigation." My throat tightened. No, I didn't sign anything." "I know," Marcus said softly, "but if Logan put your name anywhere without telling you—" My hands shook. He wouldn't. Marcus looked at me with quiet, painful honesty. "Harper, he would. And he might have." I pressed a trembling hand to my mouth. After everything, after betrayal, cruelty, financial control, he might have pulled me into a crime? Marcus stepped closer. "Listen to me. I will protect you. I'll make sure nothing touches you, but we need to act fast." My voice was barely a whisper. "What do we do?" He exhaled deeply. "First, we need to get the truth directly from him." Before I could answer, my hospital phone rang on the wall. Unknown caller, Manhattan area code. Marcus stiffened. "Harper, don't answer." But something told me I had to. I picked up. The voice on the other end was trembling. "Harper, it's Logan. I need help. Chelsea is gone, and so is the money." Logan's voice trembled through the hospital phone, shaking so violently it barely sounded like him. "Harper, please, you have to help me. She's gone. Chelsea, she disappeared, and the money, God, the money." I froze. Marcus stepped closer, reading my expression like a headline. "Put it on speaker," he mouthed. I did. Logan inhaled sharply, panic spilling through every word. "I thought Chelsea just needed time to cool off, but she wiped out the account. The one I transferred everything into, the one she told me was safe." My stomach clenched. That separate fund, the team development budget she manipulated him into creating. Marcus whispered under his breath, "Oh no." Logan continued, voice cracking. "I tried calling her. She blocked me. I went to her apartment. It's empty. I mean, completely empty. She moved out overnight." Marcus muttered, "She planned this." I swallowed hard. "Logan, how much did she take?" Silence. Then, 84,000. My blood went cold. Marcus's eyes widened. He's done. Logan's breathing turned frantic. "Harper, I messed up. I messed up so bad. The review tomorrow, if they think I stole company money, if they see that account, they'll ruin me. They'll charge me. I'll lose everything." His desperation filled the room like smoke. "Harper, please." he choked out. "You're the only person who can fix this. If you come with me, if you talk to them, if they see you're supporting me, they might go easier on me." I blinked, stunned. "Logan, are you asking me to show up at your investigation? After everything you've put me through? After you involved me without my consent?" "I didn't mean to involve you," he cried. "I swear I thought everything would work out. Chelsea said, she said, that's the problem." I cut in, voice breaking. "You believed Chelsea more than you ever believed me." Marcus stepped closer to the phone, his voice low and lethal. "Harper owes you nothing. Nothing." Logan's voice cracked again. "Harper, please. I'm begging you. I'm outside the hospital. I don't know where else to go." I froze. He was here? Marcus clenched his jaw. "You're not seeing her." Logan shouted through the phone, "Harper, I know you're hearing him, but please, please, I can't do this alone. If I lose my job, if they press charges, Harper, I need you." His panic didn't feel like remorse. It felt like survival instinct. For the first time, I heard the truth in his voice. He wasn't afraid of losing me. He was afraid of losing what I could save. I closed my eyes, chest aching. "Logan," I whispered, "I don't know if I can help you." Silence. A silence full of dread. Then the phone cut out abruptly. Marcus's eyes darted to the door, because someone was pounding on it from the hallway, hard enough to shake the frame. The pounding on the hospital room door grew louder, more frantic, each hit vibrating through the thin walls. Marcus moved instinctively in front of me, shielding my body with his posture tight, ready. "Harper!" Logan's voice cracked from the hall. "Please, open the door!" A nurse hurried down the corridor. "Sir, you can't do this. You're disturbing patients." But Logan didn't stop. "Harper, I need you. Please, I'm begging you." Marcus stepped toward the door. "Back away, Logan." "She's not ready to see you," Logan snapped. "You don't get to decide that." I swallowed hard. His voice, desperate, broken, frantic, sounded nothing like the arrogant man who once belittled me without blinking. Now he was unraveling thread by thread, and I didn't know whether to feel pity or justice. The nurse tried again. "Sir, if you don't calm down, we'll have to call security." "No!" Logan shouted. "You don't understand. Everything is falling apart. Chelsea took the money. She framed me. I need my wife." His wife. The words landed like a stone in my stomach. Marcus opened the door a few inches, blocking most of the frame. "Logan, you need to leave. She's recovering." Logan's eyes darted past him, landing on me. He pushed the door wider until Marcus had to brace against it. "Harper, please, I'm begging you. You're the only person left." He wasn't wrong. Chelsea was gone. His job was hanging by a thread. His life was collapsing piece by piece. But the old Harper, the woman who carried him, lifted him, forgave him, was gone too. I forced myself to sit up straighter. "Logan, what exactly do you want from me?" He stumbled inside, tears streaking down his face. "I need you to come with me tomorrow. If the committee sees us together, if you tell them Chelsea manipulated me, they'll believe you. They'll go easy. You can save my reputation, my job, everything." Everything. He meant his everything. "Logan," I whispered, "I almost collapsed because of you. I nearly worked myself into the ground trying to hold our marriage together." "I know," he cried. "I know, and I'm sorry. I'll fix everything once this is over. Just help me get through tomorrow, please." Marcus stepped to my bedside, his voice low but firm. "Harper doesn't owe you her life to protect yours." Logan trembled. "I'll lose everything if she doesn't help." I looked at him. Really looked. The man who broke me. The man who controlled me. The man who was finally facing everything he had earned. And then I felt something I never expected. Clarity. "Logan," I said softly, "if I walk into that meeting tomorrow." His eyes lit with hope. I finished. "It won't be to save you." His face collapsed. But before I could say more, My doctor rushed in with urgent news that changed everything. The doctor's expression was urgent but kind, the kind of seriousness that pulled everyone in the room to attention. "Miss Sullivan," she said gently, "your stress levels have reached a dangerous peak. If you continue living in the conditions that caused your collapse, you're at risk of long-term cardiovascular damage." Logan staggered backward. What does that mean?" "It means," the doctor continued, "you need to remove yourself from the environment harming you immediately." Her words landed like a final verdict. For the first time, the damage wasn't emotional, financial, or psychological. It was physical. My body had drawn a line even when my heart hadn't known how. Marcus touched my hand lightly. "Harper, you deserve peace." And I realized I did. So the next morning, after I was discharged, I walked into Logan's career-defining review meeting at Hudson Yards, not to save him, but to save myself. The conference room was lined with glass, overlooking Manhattan's skyline. Executives sat stiffly with printed audit reports. Logan looked up at me with a flicker of hope. "Thank God you came," he whispered. But the hope faded as soon as he saw Marcus walk in behind me. I took a seat, calm, steady, done breaking. They asked me what I knew, and for the first time in years, I told the truth with zero fear. How Logan had cut me off financially, how Chelsea manipulated his decisions, how he refused oversight, how he signed documents without reading them, how he used our marriage as emotional currency instead of partnership. I didn't embellish, I didn't attack, I simply told the truth, and it was enough. Within 30 minutes, the board dismissed Logan from his position. Security escorted him out. He didn't look at me. I didn't need him to. That afternoon, I packed my things from the apartment. My books, my sketch pads, my old MacBook. Marcus helped carry boxes to his car. The sun was warm, Manhattan glowing like a new beginning. As we reached the curb, Logan appeared at the building entrance. "Harp, please," he said, voice empty, hollow. "Don't go. I can start over. We can fix this." I studied him, the man who once made me feel small enough to disappear. "No, Logan," I whispered, "only I get to start over." He reached out. I stepped back, and Marcus stepped beside me, steady and certain. As we walked away, leaving the wreckage behind, a strange peace filled my chest. Not bitterness, not revenge. Freedom. 1 month later, in a quiet corner of the River Cafe overlooking the Manhattan skyline, Marcus took my hand. "You deserve something real," he said. "And if you'll have me, I'd spend my life proving it." I finally let myself smile. Soft, genuine, healed. But just as I opened my mouth to answer, my phone buzzed with a message that would change everything again. "You know, now that our story has come to an end, I want to speak to you the way I would to a close friend sitting right across from me. If you're still here, listening until this very moment, it means something in this journey touched your heart. Maybe you saw a part of yourself in Harper. Maybe you've carried pain in silence or stayed strong when someone underestimated your worth. The Stoics often said, the obstacle is the way. And that's exactly what Harper showed us. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every moment she thought she couldn't go on became the very path that led her to freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." When Harper finally chose herself, everything changed. Her story reminds us that healing isn't loud. Sometimes it's just a quiet decision. I deserve better. And so, my wonderful friends, thank you for staying with me until now. If this story moved you even just a little, please like the video, share it with someone who might need strength today, and subscribe so you don't miss the next journey. We're building a place of courage and healing, and I'd love for you to be part of it.